Hey guys, Troll 9002 here. It is 2:30 a.m. on February 8th, 2021. Congratulations to the Bucks for the Super Bowl win. We didn't watch it, but congratulations. Y'all played hard, I'm sure. I want to get right to it today. Our story is called the Dockness Monster. That's D-O-C-K, not lock, but dock, like sitting on the dock of the bay. Monster. Every body of water has a story, whether it's tragical or a miracle, or just one that exists. They all have a secret community story to them, no matter whether it's good or bad. This is a story I came to learn about a long time ago, when I first moved to where I am. This story is called the Dockness Monster. No, it's not about Nessie over in the Scottish Highlands, but this one is a country monster called the Dockness. D-O-C-K monster. If you're scratching your head going, what in the world is this crazy woman talking about? Haha, now I have your attention. The Dockness monster appeared in the early 1920s, when the paddle boats inhabited the Swanny River. At the time, before pollution hit the river, it still had its tea-color water, but it was a much lighter brown than it is now. We won't say why or what happened, or which state keeps darkening it, but I will say that when it rains it pours into the Swanny. Our river is rich in history, and also rich in treasure, but no one knows where to look for it. Rumor has it that pirate ships had been known to just pull upstream just to bury their treasure, but what we know now, most of the pirates would spend their booty, not just hide it in random spots. So, what am I talking about treasures? Well, there are various different things in the river that people just don't know about. Like the steam engine train they pulled out of the river back in 1890. It fell off a barge going from one bank to another. I really think that barge ran into the Dockness monster, and the monster startled and accidentally bumped the barge. All I can say is they should be grateful that they got it back before the last two of them fell in the water. Now, what makes Docky a monster, you might wonder, and how does it know when to come out and get you, and when to just stay in the caves and alcoves that line the banks of our river? Well, there is another treasure that is in the river that I have not mentioned, yet it's spring water. Literal spring water that comes from various different clear, cold springs that flow into the water. It's no wonder to me why the spring water doesn't help the river clear up, but we'll take care of that answer later. There is only one way to summon the Dockness monster, and it all starts to a literal abandoned bridge that used to have flow of traffic on it, but after it started to break down, the locals deemed it unsafe for traffic and just blocked it off and built a road around it. This is that bridge. Woo. With a better bridge, like we do. Once you see that bridge, you must backpedal to the springhouse ruins of what was once known Swanny Springs. And it's not the first, second stone opening, but the last and final opening in the base of this springhouse. If you're in a kayak, you can pull up to it, but don't pull into it or you'll be transported into another world with no hope of coming back. But if you pull up to the line where the spring runs into the river and is totally visible and the river is just the right height, not too high, not too low, the weather has to be just right. Sunny with the wind blowing at your back to push you along, and you have to have complete stillness of the water, so no jumping sturgeon. They will ruin the incantation you must say before Docky will appear. You must let 4 water droplets from the spring drop into the river from your paddle. Then you must say, "Doc Nessie, come on out and visit with me. Things have gotten messy. I need a monster to set things right. Please come out and help me fight. But I strongly caution you to be careful. Doc Nessie is not everything you think she is, and she will not listen to you unless you know how to talk to her. If you think you're going to summon a monster and command it, you got another thing coming. Dockness might be a monster, but she didn't deserve to be treated like one. She was nicknamed a monster because of her size, not because she was destructive or anything else. She could be compared to the size of a giant monster truck, and this Dockness monster is how she got her nickname of Dockness. She looked like a tree with a little greenery on her head, and her body would be something you'd have to go around if you were paddling on the river. But it did look like a literal dock. But you saw above the water was nothing compared to what was under the water. Kids in the summertime could swim out to her and just climb up and be all over her, and she wouldn't feel a thing because it was as if, because she was inactive, she was just a part of nature, like a tree or anything else. As I told this story, I was in the transport van with a bunch of little kids that I was taking on a trip that was 3 miles long. They were very well-behaved kids, and I was just having some fun with their imaginations. But on this day, we saw so many turtles and animals on the banks of the river. The kids were so excited about the sturgeon that were jumping, and I was so grateful they were jumping, because that meant the water wouldn't be calm enough to try and summon Docky. I could tell the older ones were skeptical of my story. Anyway, so when we got to what the kids called the Fart Springs, which is better known as Swanny Springs, it is an all-natural sulfur spring, and it does smell like rotten eggs. It is also said to have healing powers and relieve natural things that modern medicine can't quell. It has been said that the whole spring flows up from is where Nessie's soul awaits dormant until summoned. That is why the water is yellowish, clear yellowish. Really, it's sulfur water. That's why it's yellow. We pull up to the springs to stop and picnic for a minute, and to let the kids stretch their legs and the adults some time to regroup themselves and chill as well. I stay in my kayak. For trips that are short or even long ones, I prefer to stay in my kayak so I don't have to get out and get back in but once. And the current wasn't bad at all. The river was low. I was out floating when I noticed some of the kids had waded out to the dock in the middle of the river, which was showing. I yelled at them to go back to shore. It wasn't safe, and they listened. But it was then I heard another kid start to say the incantation. Thinking nothing of it, we herded the children back to their various boats, kayaks, and canoes, and as soon as we turned the corner from the springs, the abandoned bridge showed itself from between the overgrown trees, and there was a mist around it, which was odd for this time of day. And when I looked back to see if we had left anybody, I saw little Everett with his paddle, and I don't know how many drops he had, but just before the last one dropped into the water, a sturgeon jumped right next to the dock in the middle of the river. Therefore, the requirements had not been met, and the Dockness monster would not make an appearance on my watch. We work hard to keep old Docky in her soul form. As we finished up the trip, the sun came out towards the end, and a great time was had by all. Till next time, Dockness monster. Till next time. Well, I hope I had you on the edge of your seat, wondering what might happen next. This is Troll 9002 signing off for another morning, hoping to catch you on the next page turn. Let me know if you want stories rather than poetry, or vice versa, or if I need to do a better job with mixing both. Like my channel if you dare. Thumbs down it if you hate it, that's fine. It is what it is. Thanks for partaking, always, to my loyals. Have a great week and a great sleep. Until next time.